Hey guys, this is Adam here with True Metal Supply. I'm here with Paul Pittman to talk about how he has GC'd his own Barndominium builds. Paul, tell us a little bit about your experience with Barndominiums and a little bit about the project here behind us.
Well, perfect. So it was my first builds. This is my mother and father-in-law's house, and this is my father's house. I had no clue what I was doing. So the fantastic thing about the whole process for myself was I took my drawings, turned it over to True Metal Supply, and honestly, working with Mason, working with Adam, working with Blake, everybody was fantastic, especially for people like myself who had no clue what was going on. They're real quick at able to take your drawings, put together a solution, and basically do a turnkey for your wood, your metal, all your trim, things like that.
So, Paul, when you first were envisioning what you wanted your build to look like, obviously there was a process involved with that. There were certain designs, structural designs, but also product designs and color designs. Kind of what did that look like, and how were you able to work with True Metal Supply and picking the right colors, profiles, and products to get this beautiful finished product?
Well, first off, I want to say that was 100% my wife that came up with the design.
Usually
I don't want to take any credit on that, but my wife really wanted the board and batten look on these two houses. So we worked with True Metal and came up with a nice design, something that's going to last a long time. We didn't want, I would say, we more like stuff that has no maintenance for long term. So we went with a real nice board and batten. On the roof, we did a textured black. One thing that I've learned on the textured, so my father, we didn't do textured on his, and when we had the snow last year, that textured actually kept the snow from just flying off of the roof at all times, so it let it melt like it's supposed to. So I would say, doing it again, I would probably want to do a textured roof. So that kind of gives you guys an understanding of textured can help with if you're in a snow area, things like that. If you don't want the textured look, just know it didn't cause any damage, anything like that.
It's really interesting because we had 10 inches of snow or so earlier this year, and yeah, metal roofing is typically smooth, so you do have what's considered a snow avalanche off of metal roofing, and there's snow retention systems that are available, but I hadn't heard anybody ever talk about the textured finish actually helping to control snow coming off of the roof. And it wasn't just a dusting of snow, we actually got a fair
we had a lot of snow
here, so and nothing was worse for wear. I mean, the structure itself was able to withhold the weight of that snow, and everything from a performance standpoint was fine.
Yeah, so I would say you could put an elephant on top of these houses. There's no issue. Using the steel beams to go across to give you that nice vaulted look. It's one thing my wife always says. She really feels confident and this house isn't going to blow away. It's not going to fall over. It's very secure. So.
Yeah, we've got those angle iron steel trusses. They've got that nice strong webbing between the cords, and that's going to give you not only great overhead clearance, so you could have the vaulted ceiling and kind of that barndominium look on the inside, but you get the structural integrity that a lot of people are looking for. We're going to go back to this board and batten real quick because, to your point, you know, you wanted low maintenance, low to no maintenance. The board and batten system is a concealed fasten system, similar to like a standing seam system for a roof, where you don't have any screws that are actually penetrating or sticking through the panels. You get a little bit of a wider rib than you get on the roofing systems, which gives you that nice board and batten appearance. And that vertical pattern is so nice for these types of structures where you get really distinct lines for your siding. So you also have the textured finish here on the board and batten as well. So textured black roof, and then the textured board and batten siding. And then all your doors and windows are all black, and they're framed with black trim as well. That looks really great.
Yeah, I really think that the color scheme came out fantastic. On our next build, we're doing all black everything, just to see what the difference is. So all three can be a little bit different. You know, we can see which one we actually like.
Yeah, that's great. So you can see on this structure, a lot of times we have questions about how do you finish up the gable ends, or how do you deal with the height of the purlins that are sitting on top of the trusses and the purlin cups. But you can see we've got on top of the roof, the rake trim that's kind of coming down the slope. And then if that wasn't there, you'd have an exposed wood fascia board. But what Paul was able to create here is, outside of just the decorative wood posts that he has here on the front gable, all of the lumber is concealed. You know, you're not going to have to worry about carpenter bees. You're not going to have to worry about rot or breaking down on that lumber, because it's all been really nicely wrapped in color coordinating textured black trim. Even the bird boxes down here are wrapped really nicely. it transitions right into the soffit, even this nice long soffit that's underneath the overhang of the porch with the lights in there. I mean, everything that they did here turned out really, really great. So Paul, now we're inside the house, and just give us kind of a rundown of everything that's happening in here.
So a few things, you know, with me never building a house before, I would wake up in the middle of the night wondering, you know, using this true metal, you know, open feel, open concept, you know, where's my HVAC system going to go? Where's my electrical going to go? That kind of stuff really was not even a concern once we got to start doing the build, because of the way that your guys' structure is made. There's plenty of room in there for all the HVAC stuff, for the electrical, for anything that you want to do. So we did spray foam insulation everywhere. We did the best spray foam you could do, 6-inch on all the walls, 7.5, 8-inch on the ceilings. Okay. And our utilities are so low here. It's fantastic. This past summer when it was 100, you know, degrees out, the HVAC system hardly works. Yeah. So it's a flawless system in my opinion.
Well, I can see, you know, the vents that we have here on the kind of the downslope. Mm-hmm. So basically the height of those trusses, the cord height, is plenty of clearance to run all your duct work from the unit, maybe the trunk line going down the middle, and then everything kind of coming off, and there was no issues with that. Never
an issue.
What about like running electrical? I see you've got, you know, the lights up in the ceiling. Obviously, it's a whole residential home, so you have to do that. What was that like working with the post frame structure to get electrical everywhere it needed to be?
Yeah, the electrician said it's flawless to work with. So I think it's actually easier for them because, you know, normal trusses are, you know, so large, they can actually work right where they need to work. They don't have to climb in and out as much. So the sheetrockers had no issues. And it really gives you that nice open feel. I love that. The bedrooms, we did the same thing. The bathrooms, we capped them off at 10 foot. Mm-hmm. So it really makes it feel open for a small, this is a 2,000 square foot unit.
Wow, okay.
And it really makes it feel like about 2,500. So what's nice is my father's unit, we did 9-foot walls. Mm-hmm. This unit, we did 10-foot walls. And on my build, I'm doing 12-foot walls. Okay. So that's what's nice about your guys' product is you can create whatever design you want. So what we liked about with this one, with the 10-foot walls is, you know, you can do the largest uppers that you can do and still have room to put, you know, decorative things up on top. My dad's with the 9, you can put the tallest uppers. You just don't have that extra space up there. So it's kind of, you know, you can customize these however you want to.
Yeah. So Paul, we're on the back porch area. You were mentioning this design has changed a little bit from the original design. Kind of tell us what you did to get to this finished product.
Okay. So we're going to do a 50-foot long, just covered porch, have an area like this that's kind of screened in. Mm-hmm. The rest is going to be open, you know, for grills or things like that. And kind of during the framing period, the framers explained to me that, you know, it's the same cost to frame, you know, an extra room, a pantry, and a laundry room as it is to just frame the covered porch. So at the last minute, we made a decision, hey, let's change, contacted you guys, made a real quick change, added just a little bit extra metal, and I think the design turned out fantastic. The thing I really like about this covered porch that's screened in is everything's metal. You know, you've got the roof that's metal. You don't have to worry about wear and tear. All of your sides are metal. I mean, it's just you can come out here, hose it off, keep the dust off. It's fantastic. Well,
your original idea was to have the whole back of the house just with a lean-to porch, some of it screened in, but you've repurposed some of that space for a sit-in living room. You've got a nice big pantry, and to your point, even in this outdoor area where you might get, you know, some moisture from rain or whatever the case may be, everything's covered in metal. The ceiling is this really nice tough rib soffit, which is the same thing that you have on your entryway and around the soffit perimeter of your home. And then it looks like you got some aluminum framing for your screen, so nothing's going to wear down. Nothing's going to break down. You got the polished concrete down here on the floor, so that's easy. That's easy to take care of over the years.
Yeah, this is a great place, you know, for my mother and father-in-law to sit out and have coffee and, you know, watch the deer, watch the turkeys. I mean, it's a fabulous design.
So Paul, on this build here, we kind of have a different look for the siding compared to maybe the more traditional look on the charcoal building that we were looking at earlier. So this is a light gray textured board and batten siding, but the border of this siding looks a little bit different. Kind of tell me a little bit about the design, the look, and how it can be used to make maybe a two-tone or multi-tone type of appearance.
Yes, my father kind of wanted to go with something a little bit different. He didn't want just the standard color all the way top to bottom. So I think working with your guys' design team, you guys were able to come up with this neat solution that really, it really stands out and pops. So everything is fantastic behind the scenes that you can't see. It's all waterproof. All the water's always going to run off. You don't have to worry about water getting up, you know, into your wood and causing damage. So just like the other unit, it's fully waterproof. There's no issues there. I think this is just another way you guys can create a different look for your customers.
Yeah, so you got a board down here, and that board was kind of just wrapped, so we're protecting the wood down at the base. The board and batten panel comes and sits on this piece of trim, which has, you know, obviously a little bit of flashing that goes up behind the panel to make sure that we're waterproof down at the bottom. And then we've got kind of an oversized double angle up at the top to give you that bigger border trim that matches the width of the trim at the bottom. It's sometimes called picture framing, where you have a really nice perimeter. You've got complementary outside corners that are a little bit larger that make the wall look like it's encased by a picture frame. A really cool design here. All right, so Paul, one of the questions that we get asked pretty regularly, especially with spray foam insulation on the walls and on the ceiling, is how do I vent the structure? And honestly, like, I didn't really know what the solution to that was, but it sounds like you guys have a solution, and maybe you could explain that to us.
Yes, we worked with our local Roger Newman HVAC system here in town, and they did a lot of the research because we wanted it to be as best insulated as possible. And you know, the way a normal house is built, your roof has a gap in the top so air can flow out, and then you know, air can flow out underneath basically the soffit vents. So because we spray foamed all that, there's really no air that's going to go in or any air that's going to come or go out. So what you have to have is you have to have an ERV valve. What we went with was the Honeywell solution. What that does is it brings in fresh air and removes air all throughout the day. So if you don't have something like this, you're going to create some type of stagnant air and also mold. And another thing that we had to think of is your actual vents in your bathrooms and vents underneath your stove. All of that stuff is sucking out fresh air or air that's inside the house at all times. So you have to have something like an ERV just to keep from creating kind of like a negative vacuum, I guess. It has a really nice big filter. The filter only has to be replaced once a year. And so far it's been 1 year. Look at it, it looks like it's still brand new. So you could probably take and leave that however, you know, to each your own.
You can set it and forget it maybe for a year.
So another thing that's nice is it ties directly into your HVAC unit, so you don't even know that it's working. You don't hear it, you don't see it. The only thing I say is you need to make sure you have space for it when you're doing your build. Well,
you talked about for the home that you're building with the 12-foot walls, you kind of were able to account for this going above the HVAC system, right? And being able to avoid having it take up any usable space on your garage wall. Now you can do your shelves or whatever you want to do, and those taller walls will actually complement that system for your own build. It's great. So we've been talking about the ventilation system that we looked at in the garage, but some people will still elect to maybe have a gable vent or maybe have soffit vents. In this structure here, we just really used the same material that we used for the roofing, the tough rib metal system. It was cut down to the width of the overhang, and it was set within a J-channel and a fascia ledge to actually hold that soffit in place. So this is a solid soffit because you guys spray foamed everything and you didn't need the ventilation. But if somebody does need ventilation, we have a really nice vented soffit option. If somebody wants to maybe look at not doing the spray foam and going with a vented gable system and a vented soffit, we do have the vented SpeedLap soffit that's available. Being inside the two different buildings, the 9-foot and the 10-foot, they're both great. The vaulted ceilings give you great overhead clearance. They make the buildings feel bigger, but even the space above the windows in the garage, you can kind of see the difference, and maybe it's just a perception, but it really felt like the 10-foot walls gave you a lot more clearance, and it just made things feel a little bit bigger. And to your point, you're probably not saving much in terms of material costs by shortening things down because you're having to cut down 10-foot sticks of wood.
You're going to have to pay your framers some extra money for them to cut the wood. The extra metal costs maybe a couple $1,000s, $2, $3 at the most. To get that extra foot, your sheetrock, it's not going to be that much difference.
Yep.
So a little bit more money is going to make your house feel way bigger in the long run. The roof's been phenomenal. It's probably cheaper because it's going to last such a long time. But we haven't had any leaks, haven't had any issues. You know, every time we've had hard rain here lately, we've had the hard snow, we've had no issues with either of the roofs.
And metal roofing is so great because it has the highest wind uplift rating, it has the highest impact resistance rating. Yeah, metal roofing is designed to last 3 or 4 times the life of a traditional asphalt shingle, which is why we see people who are looking for good long-term solutions going with a metal roof. And even with your system here, you know, you went with a tough rib system. We think that's the highest value metal roofing system on the market. We always will recommend the lifetime screws, which is what you guys have up here. You know, the inferior screws, they can require a little more maintenance over the life of the system, but with these ones here, it's just not something you're gonna have to worry about. Your installers did a really good job running your screws in straight lines. You want it to perform, that's kind of the main thing, but you want it to look good, obviously, as well, and it looks like they did a great job. Another
nice thing that I've noticed is, you know, we've had 50, 60 mile an hour winds here recently, and you hear my friends all the time, hey, I had shingles blow off. We haven't had any issues. It holds up great to wind. So I would say, like, if you're looking for a long-term solution, low maintenance, True Metal is definitely something I'd go with.
That's the way to go. So, Paul, we talked about, you know, the new construction that's going on here, and with the other 2 buildings we looked at, that was kind of like a turnkey solution from True Metal Supply, where we did the steel trusses, the lumber, the roofing, the siding, things like that. But on your build here, you wanted to go a little bit of a different route, and talk a little bit about what you were able to contract outside of True Metal Supply, and then where we're able to come in and be helpful.
Yeah, so what's fantastic about working with you guys is, like I said, with those 2, especially when you're new, you have no clue what you're doing. You need all the help you can get.
Sure.
You know, you can just come to you guys, and you guys can basically, hey, you need all this wood, we'll deliver all this wood, we'll deliver all the metal, everything will be done. You don't basically have to do a lot of thinking. But with my third one, my dream house, because I wanted to do so crazy custom things, we were able to do exactly the way we want to do, full stick built with 12-foot walls. And then we're able to order just, you know, the metal from you guys, the metal, the screws, the trim for the roof, the siding, all the window, everything that you need metal-wise, we can still work with you guys. So that's what's nice about you guys working with True Metal is you can customize any way you want to do it. If you want to just do the turnkey solution where everything's delivered to you, you know, here's off your list, go off this list. Or you can customize it and do this way that we're doing. We just wanted to pick the metal with you guys because we trust the metal. We know how good it is. It's made here in the USA.
It's a shell that protects your home, right? Yeah. So, well, and we always say we're a customer service company. We just happen to sell metal roofing. If somebody needs a turnkey kit and everything delivered to the site because they're not sure all the component parts they'll need, we can be really helpful with that. But now that you've got some experience, and again, your design for your dream home was maybe different than the design that you had done with these other post frames. So I'm glad that we can partner and come in and give you really great confidence in the metal siding, the metal roofing, and a good friendship and partnership, you know, for future projects, hopefully.
Perfect.
Paul, thanks so much for allowing us to come out here to visit your first builds that you did and to see the work that you're doing on your current dream home. We really appreciate your perspective and your willingness to share with our audience, who will, I'm sure, gain a great deal of knowledge and wisdom from what you've gone through in your existing builds here.
Yeah, and the reason why I was, you know, definitely willing to do a video like this is because it'll help people like myself who have never done it before understand that it's not a crazy process. It's something that anybody can do. If you work with a company like True Metal who's done this numerous times now. We were just kind of at the beginning. Now you guys are extremely experienced, way farther along than what it was even when we started working with you guys. So I just hope that this video can be a blessing for many people.
Well, if you have more questions or want to learn more information, visit us at truemetalsupply.com.